All right, thank you so much, Amanda. Hi, everyone. My name is Nathan Harvey. I'm a developer advocate here with DORA and with Google Cloud. And I'm really excited to have all of you join us today. Just a quick bit of history about Scott and AJ. They're both from Liberty Mutual. And about a year ago, I think it was more like 11 months ago, so almost a year ago, they published a YouTube video called a Tomorrow Talk, which is a thing that Liberty Mutual is in the habit of doing, just sharing what they're doing with the community. And in that video, both Scott and AJ talked about how they're using DORA within Liberty Mutual and some of the insights that they've had in scaling it across a large organization, using it with multiple different teams. I thought there were a lot of really great nuggets in that video, a lot of really good takeaways. In fact, I liked it so much that we actually featured that video in the 2022 State of DevOps report. So you may have seen a sidebar on that within the report. I encourage you to go watch that video, but don't go watch it right now, because we have Scott and AJ here with us today, and they're going to share a little bit about their own experience with DORA and rolling it out across Liberty Mutual. So Scott, AJ, I'm really excited to have you here today. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'm going to turn things right over to you.
Thank you, Nathan and Amanda, for inviting us. Great intro. You really gave a good plug for us, as you always seem to do. I do have a special guest that I'm going to bring in here, which is my friend PowerPoints. So give me 1 second. I'm sure you're all just dying to see PowerPoint slides. We all love them. So we're not going to go through a crazy amount of information here, but hopefully in a second you see my slide with Mother Liberty there. So AJ and I just want to give a little bit of an overview of some of what we've been doing. So we're going to do some super quick intros of AJ and I, and then we're going to talk a little bit about how we started with DORA metrics. So AJ will cover that, and how we are scaling. So you'll get to hear a little bit more than what we had in the Tomorrow Talks video specific to scaling. And then we have our discussion through the lean coffee. So that's our approach. A little bit about me. I've been in tech for over 15 years. Really focused on Agile. I saw at least one person here who's an Agile coach. Early in my career, really trying to focus on agility. Still do. One of the hats that I wear at Liberty Mutual is around Agile enablement. But I think of Agile not in terms of how do we just get everyone operating with Scrum or something like that. It's really more about DevOps and true agility. So been excited about the work that the DORA team has done for years now, learning a lot from the annual State of DevOps reports. Saw Amanda had Accelerate there, learning from that book as well, and so many other things that are out there in the broader DevOps community. Trying to apply as much of it as possible within Liberty Mutual and learn as we go, which I'll talk a little bit more about in a few minutes.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm excited to be here today. My name is AJ Wasserman. I've actually spent half of my career in finance and half now in technology. Right now, I am running our Cloud FinOps product and practices at Liberty Mutual, and also responsible for tech data insights, which is why I'm here today to talk a little bit about how we introduce data analytics at Liberty at scale. I'm currently focused on really driving cost optimization at Liberty. I'm sure for every company, it's a priority this year to really save money where you can in this economy, but also partnering with teams across the enterprise to really drive efficiencies in the engineering space and really bring some meaningful data to help with data-driven insights and to support data-driven decision-making. So I'm really excited to be here today to share our journey and to participate in the community. All right, next slide. Thank you, Scott. So just to give you a little bit of background on Liberty Mutual Insurance, if you're not familiar with us, you may be familiar with the Limu, the Emu, and Doug on the right side of the slide. So that's our personal lines of insurance business. But essentially, you're looking at a 100-year-old plus insurance company in the property and casualty space. We have 45,000 employees globally. And in those 45,000 employees, we do have 5,000 tech employees. And everything we really do is digital. So that's why this journey for us has been super important on our transformation. And as you can see, we do operate across 29 countries in the world. But essentially, we're really there when our customers are in times of need, when bad things are happening to them. So we provide that security and those services to really help them get through some tough times. So just a little bit of background on Liberty before we jump into our data journey for DORA. All right, so just going to talk a little bit about how we implemented some of the data and metrics at Liberty Mutual. So as I mentioned, we've got about 5,000 technology employees. So we've got a lot of applications running, some in the clouds, some still on-prem, some in the mainframe. So when we first were tasked with looking at DORA for my team, at first we really had to understand like what was DORA. So Liberty has kind of gone through their agile transformation journey for many years, but this was kind of layered on. So we, as a team, everybody sort of read the reports and got an understanding of what we were dealing with. We pulled in some other subject matter experts at Liberty and really worked on this in a collaborative way. But then we really needed to determine like what data do we have available to support the 4 core metrics? What data don't we have that we need to potentially source? And then really, and you can see a kind of a key for success we had was we needed to understand kind of what we had and where are our gaps. And we really focused on that 80-20 rule. And even today, we still don't cover everything, but we do try to cover the majority to give most teams some data in an automated fashion. So after sort of determining what data we had, what data we needed to obtain, we talked about building a curated data product so that teams across Liberty Mutual could access that data. And we do provide data in different ways. So, teams can consume that in a way that makes sense for their team. But in addition to having data, we also created some starter pattern reporting so folks could get off the ground with, some dashboards, business intelligence dashboards that they could get started for their teams. And then after we kind of had that set up, we did complete a roadshow. We did go market by market to roll that out, to get customer feedback, and we've been using this data for years at this point. But really, for us, the key was just in an agile fashion was really rolling things out quickly, learning, getting that feedback, and even still today, we don't, as I mentioned, have all of the deployment methods covered. So we still continue to talk to customers to kind of see what trends are happening from a Liberty Mutual perspective and a tooling perspective to figure out what do we need to get on our roadmap, if anything, to support some of those other deployment methods and things like that. So that's just kind of our DORA journey at a high level glance. I'm going to turn it over to Scott to talk more about some of our learnings and success we had with actually rolling it out in his market.
Yeah, and I'll say before jumping over to another slide that one of the benefits that we've had as an organization is centralizing some of our DORA data. And that doesn't mean that the individual teams can't find ways to measure and look at their own data in ways that they think are better measurements, but to have the centralization of it and have that view where it's consistent in terms of how we're measuring things has made it easier for us to look at opportunities to improve, both in how we're measuring and in the activities that we have across our organization. So that's been an awesome advantage for us that I know we've been asked in other forums about, and something that's helped us on this journey. So here's a little bit of a flashback here. We've been looking at DORA metrics for a while now. As AJ mentioned, in 2021, we were doing a readout. It was a year-end readout and talking a bit about our overall journey when it comes to DevOps, and a few things that stood out where we've improved our lead time over the course of just that 1 year by 22%, increased our deployment frequency by 300%, all of that with a change failure increase of just 0.5%. That's been great. We felt like we were moving on this path, really nailing things. The reality is, though, we struggle at times still. Right now, thinking about 2022 in particular, we hit some bumps in the road in terms of our ability to maintain stability in some cases. Some of the challenges that we've had that we thought we'd overcome came back to us. So it's a lesson of, it's not just you do it once and you're done. You've got to keep at it. You've got to be consistent. You've got to keep reminding folks. And the other piece here that's called out a little bit is, it's one thing to continue to improve your throughput, but are you really delivering the right thing? So that's been an area that we've been focused on, making sure that we've got the right prioritized work, the right value that we're delivering, all of that, because the numbers can only say so much. Last slide, which will maybe disappoint all the PowerPoint fans out there, but this is a view into some of how we look at this. And this is just a small snippet of our organization. We've got roughly 1,300 development teams across our organization. This is representing a very small piece of it, but what this view allows us to do is it allows us to look across our teams and say, okay, how many of them are elite? How many of them are, high? Where do we have folks that are really struggling? And with the age of our organization, various mergers, acquisitions, and so many other factors. We have technology that runs the gamut as far as, you know, how old it is and how modern it is. So for us, we can look at this, we can say, okay, how many of our teams actually have their data linked in correctly? How do we actually have the you know, ability to see what's accurate? But also, if you zoomed in on this and you looked at some of the teams that are low or medium, we can then identify exactly who those teams are and have conversations with them to help them, or to, you know, in some cases, not necessarily helping them, it's educating them on some of the information that we see so they can educate us on the challenges that they have. So that two-way conversation is important, and bringing the data forward for us to have those conversations is critical. So that's everything we wanted to share today as far as our journey so far, some of the scaling that we've done.